This is A Different Brilliant, an Aspect podcast focusing on the strengths, interests and aspirations of the autistic community. Open, authentic and engaging conversations about autism. Made for autistic people, parents and carers of children on the autism spectrum. Welcome to A Different Brilliant.
Well, welcome everybody to A Different Brilliant, and I'm so thrilled today to be talking to one of the most delightful humans a person could ever meet. I'm joined today by Michael Theo, and he is an autistic consultant for Aspect, and we might talk a little bit about that. But you're also an ambassador for Wable, which is a fantastic dating app for the autistic community. I think most people would know Michael from Love on the Spectrum, but I'm very excited to say he's also the star of Austin on the ABC, which is a new series all about his character. So welcome, Michael.
Hello, Madeleine.
It's really great to have you here.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me.
Well, I think today we were talking about it just before we started, that this subject is a really big subject for the autistic community. Mm-hmm. And there is a chance that people might find it even upsetting or confronting at different points as they reflect on their own experiences.
Yeah.
So just to let people know that potentially could happen in this podcast.
Yeah. But people should also keep in mind that they shouldn't, mistake warnings for discouragement.
Yeah.
They're two different things.
Very good. Yeah, they are. They're really different. And I think, you had a lot to do with choosing this subject because it's something that's really important to you. So what are we going to talk about? Well, we're going to talk about friendships.
Exactly.
This is a big question. I'm starting with a big one, Michael.
Okay.
But let's just start with, what is your experience in making friendships?
Well, that question does not exactly have a simple answer.
No.
In high school, I found the first year pretty challenging because it was a very different time to primary school. And I still wasn't sure how to go about making friends exactly. But as each year passed in high school, I began to accept friendship more and more and embrace it to the point where I did my best to socialize with other people. There were a lot of groups outside of my year that actually made an effort to invite me and sit with them during recess and lunch.
Yeah, well, you're very lucky with that. I think it would be great if you could try and say, and again, I know it's hard, but try and say, for people who just have no idea what it's like, why was making friends so challenging?
Well, for people on the spectrum, their social skills just need some work to be done. But it's not because it's their fault, but because they just need the support and encouragement to build those skills. Because you can't just build and develop them overnight or on your own. You need the right support system to be able to work on those skills.
Yeah.
But people should also lead them by example as well.
And what kind of things could people do to lead by example, do you think?
Like set up a scenario where you're in a place where friendships can be made, because friendships can be made anywhere at any time. Just do something simple like inviting them over for lunch or coffee or for a drink or something, and then ask questions about each other, get to know one another, and see where things go. And if you enjoy each other's company, great. Then that could pave the way for a friendship.
Yeah, it's so beautiful what you've said, and it is a simple thing, but I think many people struggle with that, and particularly autistic people, because there's a world of trying to understand communication that has to go on, like a lot of work for simple things. Is that your experience? Like you have to think a lot about communication, or what is this person saying, or what do they mean?
Well, all you can do is just do your best to listen to that person and then try to understand what they're trying to say. But everyone's different because not all autistic people are the same.
No.
Everyone's different.
Yeah.
Because when you meet one autistic person, you only meet one person on the spectrum.
Yeah.
All you need to do, if you're unsure of how to socialize with people on the spectrum, all you can do is just approach them, introduce yourself, and then ask them questions. Just simple ones. Start off with that. And if you develop a friendship, great. And then you can ask more personal and deep questions.
You know, that's really clever what you've just said, and actually something people could easily do. So Can you think of a very simple question? What might be an example of that?
An example of a simple question that could help you get to know that person is like, what do you like to do for fun? Or what brings you joy? And would you like to have a drink or a meal perhaps?
Oh man, Michael, there is a reason why so many people love you, and that's just one of them, because even you wanting to know what brings someone's joy that says a lot about you as a person, how big-hearted you are and generous you are. And those simple questions can make such a difference to people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So have you always been someone who wanted to make friends? Was that important to you your whole life or not?
That hasn't always been the case. When I was in primary school, I enjoyed sitting on my own during breaks during the school days, because that's what I preferred at the time. And also I was still just very young.
Yeah.
Because it takes time for social skills to develop. It doesn't just happen in a matter of days or weeks, and you can't force friendship either. It takes time. And the other thing is, when I was in high school, the first year was pretty challenging for me to accept, because things were very different to primary school. But as each year passed, I slowly began to embrace friendships more. And in the years following my time as a high school student, I was eagerly embracing friendships more and more. And to the point where I found it to be one of the most comforting parts of life. And I eventually began to see friendship as a second family, a second support unit behind your family.
Yeah, that's very powerful. You know, I'm thinking, I'm a parent of autistic. I'm autistic, but so are my kids. And I think sometimes as parents, if you see your child happy in a schoolyard on their own when they're young, you think there's something wrong. But maybe it's just allowing them to want to be on their own, that's okay. Yeah. And that, you know, like you, over time, they'll create friendships the way that work for them.
Exactly. Because if you try to encourage or force your kids to make friends with people their age, that's not really the best way to do it, because they will make their friends of their own in their own time. Because as a parent, you can't force them to make friendships. It just doesn't work that way. And if you see them just sitting by themselves, that doesn't necessarily mean that there's something wrong. But also, why worry about stuff like that? Why?
Yeah, well, I think because we've all been taught you're supposed to do certain things. You know, you're supposed to play with other kids at lunchtime, for example. But, you know, that was never my preferred way to be.
Supposed to is not exactly the best way to teach people about friendships. It's not a matter of supposed to, it's a matter of wanting to.
Oh, that is so good. Parents out there, you want to listen to Michael because he just made a really, really good point. So what is it? So let's talk about being alone then, because I think being alone can be great. So when you were younger, what did you like about being alone?
I don't really know how to explain it, but I just really enjoyed being alone. Maybe it's because when I was 8 years old, I was influenced a bit by the character Shrek at the time because he loved being alone.
Yeah.
And that kind of influenced me in a way. And plus, when I was a kid, I was constantly off in my own world. And to this day, I kind of look back on that with a degree of embarrassment because no kids these days don't seem to be like that. They're more aware of what's going on in the world around them.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That's certainly not the case in my family. I think they do spend time in their imaginations and it's a really happy place.
Yeah. But my mother also did her best to encourage me to make friends and bring me out of that little world that I was in.
Yeah.
And to this day, I'm actually grateful that she did, because if my mother didn't try to break that, I probably still would have been socially disconnected. But when I was in primary school, it's not like I had no friends. I had some friends. I don't remember how many friends I had, but it was a decent group of friends. And in high school, that increased as well with people from outside my year, but also in the years following my time at high school, I began to make new friends, more friends, and they proved to be worth my time a lot more than most of my old school friends did. Because here's the thing, when you finish high school, a small number of people will stick by you, while the rest of them will just abandon you at the drop of a hat. And people on the spectrum, or neurodiverse people in high school, often get marginalized and excluded by their peers. That happened as well, but I didn't realize it at the time because it never occurred to me. But now that I look back on it, it kind of bothers me in a way. And ever since people have begun to see me as an icon in the autistic community and also to be this inspiration, which I find very surprising, I decided to embrace that role and be a proper example for neurodiverse people. Because I aspire to see that no one on the spectrum ever gets marginalized or excluded by their peers, and not go through those moments of sadness. Because in high school, I was barely invited to a lot of things growing up. But I was invited to some things, but it's not like it was happening all the time. And the other thing is, I actually did get along with a lot of people from my year. Some of them actually made an effort, others didn't though. And as each year passed, making friends just got easier. And these days I find it to be incredibly easy. It's basically peanuts to me now. But
yeah.
But also, Love on the Spectrum is kind of a gateway to more friendships. I even have friends in Melbourne and Perth. And every day I really miss them a lot.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. You can tell me if I'm right or wrong. But it sounds like a couple of things happened. As you got older, you learnt more skills, social skills, one thing. But the other thing is, I think it sounds like you got more and more comfortable or sure of yourself and who you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's correct. Because my mother was always encouraging me to embrace and accept all those things and also build on my social skills.
Yeah, so it is a combination because I think if you just work on the social skills and you don't become more and more sure of yourself and comfortable with yourself, then it won't work. And vice versa, even if you're sure of yourself but you don't have the skills, it's like you need the combination of it.
Exactly. It takes more than one thing to help build social skills. Not just hard work by yourself, but the support and encouragement of others.
Yeah. So here's another really difficult question. And again, you can only answer it for yourself because, like you said, every autistic person's different. We all experience life differently. But if you were going to say, how do you know or how do you determine if someone's your friend or not?
To put it simply, one of the best ways to determine who your true friends are is just give yourself some time and space to reflect. Like, ask yourself, what have they done for me? And what I've done in the past is analyze the friendships that I've had, and only your gut and your heart and mind will be able to tell you who your true friends are or not. Because a true friend will never abandon you or use you for personal gain, and would not throw you under the bus.
Yeah. I think it's clever what you said, because I was trying to answer that question for myself and I couldn't really think of an answer. Yeah. But what you said was you look at what they've done for you, and people's actions, they can be seen and not seen. Like you can see what people are doing and not doing, which sounds like way clearer than trying to work out what their face is doing or what's going on in their head.
Exactly. That's right.
Yeah, people's actions say a lot.
Actions speak louder than words, they say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really clever. Okay, well, I know you talked a lot about the social skills itself, and the thing you said about questions was really good, about simple questions and then you can go to harder questions.
Well, I wouldn't say harder. I would say questions that have more depth.
Yes. And what's an example of a question that has more depth?
One example I can think of would be, what do you want most in life? What do you want for yourself in the future?
Yeah, that's a great question. Now I'm thinking, what do I want? It's a good question. So if you were going to give people advice, so let's maybe start with high school students, because that seems to be the most challenging time for most people.
Yep.
So if you were going to give advice to high school-aged autistic people, what kind of advice would you give them about making friends?
The best advice I can give them is, don't force the friendship, just give it time for it to grow. And if you're unsure of where to begin, just by simply approach someone nice in the schoolyard, introduce yourself and ask, can I sit with you? And if they accept it, that's a good step going forward. And ask questions about each other. What do they like to do for fun outside school? And what do they do on weekends? Just see where it goes. Just don't overthink it.
Yeah, that's good. Someone once told me something similar about asking questions, and that actually if you ask a question and then listen to whatever the person says, that actually sort of tells you what the next question is. So, you know, if they say, I like movies, you could then say, oh, what kind of movies do you like?
Exactly. You just need to find a topic or some common ground to talk about.
Yeah.
And things could improve, and then things will just build on from there.
Yeah.
But in order to do this, you just have to be brave and take a chance. What's the worst that could happen?
You know, I'm thinking about you and the whole course of your life, and, you know, it's pretty incredible the bravery you've brought to being in the spotlight. You know, you are in the spotlight, and it takes a brave person to step into that and to really want to be an example for people. So I want to ask you, what are some of the most beautiful or magical or special moments you've ever had in friendship?
I can't really recall any off the top of my head because there have been so many beautiful moments in friendship. But all I can say is that when you do have friends, hold on to your friends and always be loyal to them. Because your true friends will stick by you through thick and thin, and they'll always have your back no matter what. The people that aren't true friends, they'll just willingly abandon you because they got what they wanted from you, or if it's too inconvenient for them. That's not a true friend. Friendship should never be one-sided. If a friendship is one-sided, that means only one person is benefiting from it and the other person is not. Both people should benefit from a friendship. And friendships are not about, you don't make friends in hopes of an award, of some kind of reward or something. You love your friends unconditionally. But the people who just want something from you or think that they will benefit from you or use you to their advantage, that's not what a true friend is.
No.
Those are kind of people to avoid.
Yeah.
And if they keep betraying you or throwing you under the bus, that's not what true friends do. Because sometimes teenagers can be very cruel, and some teenagers will only want to be friends with you only if they can use you to their advantage or benefit from you or use you to improve their social status or to make themselves look or feel better. That's no reason to make friends. You only make friends because you want to be their friend and because you enjoy their friendship and the time they spend with you.
Yeah. I think what you're saying, which is also really valid for people listening, is it's okay to end friendships if they're not working.
Exactly. And I've also discovered that people who are neurodiverse often give people a lot of chances. But there are some people who will just toss them aside like they're trash.
Yeah, so I think it's good for people to know it's actually okay to end a friendship, and like you'll make lots of friendships over your lifetime.
Exactly. Because I've also learned in the past 12 years that your true friends are the people that you make friends with after you finish school. While a small group of people from schools will continue to stick by you, but the people that just abandon you when they finish school, those aren't the true friends.
No, and that's the case for most people, I think, Michael, that happens after high school. One of the remarkable things I think about you that you've discovered about friendship is you've had a dream for a long time. Like you've been someone with a dream and a passion and a drive. You wanted to act, and you can hear that your parents very much empowered you to follow dreams and ambitions.
Yep.
But it also sounds like your friends did too, because for anybody to try and go from reality television and then move into actually making a television series, that's a very rare thing.
It is?
Yes. Not everybody manages to do it. And I think you've got such strong friendships around you.
Yep.
That they just keep empowering you to follow your dream no matter what.
That's right. And the other thing is with friendships is if you can't see each other every day, that's actually not so bad. And if you get busy, just promise each other to make time for each other when you can, because that's all you can ask for, right?
Yeah, that's a really good important point too. So it's probably a good question to ask you. Your friendships after school seem to be the strongest ones in your life.
Definitely.
And what you just said is one of the things you do to maintain a friendship. Is there anything else you could advise people about maintaining their friendships?
Yes, there are many ways to maintain friendships. Just keep checking in with each other by phone or text. In person, you just do catch-ups, like go for coffee or lunch or dinner with someone. All you need to do is just pick up the phone or make a call or send a text. But also ask the person, how are you doing? How is everything? Ask questions like that. And you don't have to see each other every day or every week, but you don't have to set days to see each other. Just make time for each other when you get the chance. It's not that difficult. But the problem is when people end up having kids, maintaining the friendship becomes even harder because when people eventually have kids, that's all they think about and talk about, and they never shut up about it either.
It's true, Michael. It's true.
And everybody has kids now. It's like taking the rarest collectible and they're making millions of it.
Well, that's some good perspective for me because you definitely do focus on your kids a lot, that's for sure.
But because people invest their time so much in their kids, they never stop and give themselves a chance to de-stress or see a friend once in a while.
Oh, my goodness. I'm going to get more lessons from you today than anybody else. You're right. It's true.
But you have to find balance with your time because friendship's an important part of life because your life shouldn't just revolve around work and kids because those are heavily burdened responsibilities.
Yeah, that's really good. You know, I think one of the things, it's a myth eventually. And look, it's true making friends can be difficult for autistic community when you're young. But later on in life, I think it's important to stop saying it's really hard because like you said, there are really simple things you can do to make friends or keep friends.
Exactly. Because the simplest things in life will make all the difference.
All right, let me ask you another question. This might be, I don't know, we'll see what you have to say about this. But what are some of the perks and what are some of the negatives of friendship?
I'll start off with the negatives.
Okay.
The negatives are some friends might not be willing to make the time for you. Some friends are too busy for friendships. Some people will just want to use you for something or only be friends with you at their convenience. And there are some friendships that are toxic.
Okay, well, that's all the negatives, that's for sure. So what are the perks of friendship? The
perks would be people to spend time with away from family.
Yep.
People that can build up into a second support system because you do need to have friendships to get a break from your family, though, whether it's your parents and siblings or your partner, because everyone needs friendships. Because if you devote all your time to just your family, you'll feel trapped in a sense. Some other perks with friendships is they will accept invitations to go to the cinemas or a restaurant for a meal or a cafe for a coffee or something. And friends also sometimes give each other gifts at their own volition.
Good perk.
But you should never expect a gift. The only thing you should expect from a friend is loyalty. That's all we can ask for or expect in a friendship. That's all we could ask for. And I choose to be loyal because that's the way I am. I'm a loyal person. In fact, I would do anything for a friend that I really cared for, even to the point where I would willingly sacrifice my own life to save another.
Yep. Yeah, you are for sure a big-hearted human. So let me ask you, you're clearly passionate about friendship and the importance of it. Why is it so special?
Well, to be honest, I don't really know what makes friendship special, but to make something special, you just have to simply believe that it's special. Especially if that person enjoys having you around and wants to make the time for you, because the point is to maintain a friendship, you just have to make time for each other. It's as simple as that.
Well, we ought to make a T-shirt that says that, to have a friendship, make time for people, I reckon. So if you could give like final advice or final words for people about friendship, anything you want to say?
Always be loyal to your true friends. Hold on to your true friends and value them for life, and treat them no differently to your family, because they're both as important and as special as each other. Quality time, affection, and the time you spend with each other is what defines a friendship.
I've got one final question for you that I just thought of.
Yes.
What does great friendship feel like?
A great friendship feels like it feels just very similar to having the best gelato in the world on a hot summer's day. Let's just say that.
That's true. That's true. Oh, my goodness, Michael. Thank you so much for your time today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
It's really great to meet you.
Great to meet you too.
Thanks for listening to A Different Brilliant, an Aspect podcast focusing on the strengths, interests and aspirations of the autistic community. If you would like to learn more, visit our website, aspect.org.au, to listen to past episodes or send us a message. Make sure to like or subscribe to A Different Brilliant on your podcast app.